Welcome to the Zealot BMX YouTube channel. This is Bikes Over Coffee. And like I always say, but first, coffee. So today I'm having an AeroPress made with blue Tokai beans. Today's subject is BMX Cranks. So let's rewind to the beginning. About 1979, a company called Profile Racing designed the first set of three-piece cranks for a BMX bike. They used a design which was a 19mm spindle with 48 splines, like this. There's 48 splines on this spindle and there's splines inside here to which the spindle locks. This design was a solid design and a three-piece design. One spindle, two arms, 1, 2 and 3. Alright? This was back in 1979. This design is the most tried and most tested design in BMX cranks. So much so that it still goes on today. This is a crank from the mid-90s that Profile made for GT racing. As you can see the GT logo right here. Very rare piece. These are a current set of Profile cranks. The 48 spline design is the most tried and tested design in BMX cranks, and it's often copied, or you can say emulated, by other brands such as Kink, Demolition, Fiend, Odyssey, Eclat, the list goes on. Everybody and their uncle makes this design. This is a modern day crank from a brand called MERRITT. What they've done is made the spindle 22mm, like many other brands have done, just to make it stronger. These are really strong street cranks using the same design, 48 splines and a 22mm spindle. Profile also does a 22mm spindle, as do other brands. So a variation on the three-piece crank is the two-piece crank. This just makes it easier to install, but there are advantages and disadvantages. So let me explain how this works. One side of the spindle is already attached to one arm. It could be welded, wedged, cold forged, whatever. It's fixed, it's not coming out. There is no bolt here. This is just fixed in. All you have to do is attach this arm and then put in the little Allen bolt and you're done. A point to remember, all of the 48 spline cranks require a tool to install and remove them. So, most BMX cranks fall into this category. 48 spline design, made of chromoly steel, heat treated, super strong. There are a couple of others that need to be mentioned. One, the new GT aluminum cranks, which is an homage to the old Power Series cranks back from the 80s. That uses a square axle or square spindle design with aluminum arms. Very beautiful cranks. Another crank, which is one of my favorites, is the ODYSSEY Thunderbolt crank. When it was launched, say about 15 years ago, it was called the ODYSSEY Warm Bolt, which was a name that evolved from one bolt because that's what was needed to fix the crank, just one bolt. The crank's made of chromoly and uses a hexagonal spindle design on which sits a wedge cluster, and then you put in the other arm and lock it with the Allen bolt and you're done. No tools required. Amazing. One more thing I need to mention. All the cranks we featured right now are pro level cranks. If you're entering BMX and you want a slightly more affordable set of cranks, you can look at a crank set like this. It's again a three-piece design, but instead of having 48 splines on the spindle, you have about 8, sometimes 16. This is a decent design and the cranks are cheaper to make, so it makes a very affordable entry-level crank. Well, that's it, cranks, or rather BMX cranks in a nutshell. Did we miss anything? Would you like to see something else? Would you want to do a video on crank arm length? Let us know in the comments. Share this video with your friends, get their comments so we know what you'd like to see. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video.